Hey everybody, and welcome back to another book review. I know I said we were doing book reviews in the new library, but I'm washing clothes right now, so you could really hear the washing machine. So I am back in our bedroom where it's quieter. But I just finished a really great book, If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. Been wanting to read this for a little bit, and in my quest to try and catch up on some books that I probably should have read by this point in my life, but I just haven't. This was on the list, so here we are. So If Beale Street Could Talk, I think the movie came out about 2 years ago, maybe 3. I have not seen the movie. Don't really plan on seeing the movie. It's not necessarily something that I'm super interested in seeing. And honestly, just the concept and the overview of the book I wasn't really a huge fan of either, but I was like, it's James Baldwin, and at this point, like, I definitely should have read some James Baldwin, so figured it was a nice easy one to start with, and it's decently short too. So If Beale Street Could Talk is about two characters, Fonny and Trish, and they are in love, high school sweethearts more or less. They like have been friends, grew up together, but like didn't really start dating until they were much older. And so in the story, they've been dating for a while. They are planning on getting married. Everything seems to be going really great. And then suddenly, Fonny is accused of rape of a not really white woman, but like Puerto Rican. And that's kind of a main thing in the book. But there is no evidence really that points to the fact that Fonny could have possibly raped her. It's a lot of, he said, she said situations, but as the story goes on, you find out that this actually isn't just a he said, she said. This is a cop that has been targeting Fonny for a while. And all because he feels like Fonny has wronged him in some way, and that's kind of what it boils down to. Is this cop just is like going after him, and so puts him in a lineup. And the thing, as the story goes on, you find out that when Fonny was put in the lineup for this woman, she was like, I just know that the person that raped me was black, and they only put Fonny in the lineup, and he was the only black guy, and so, like, she's like, well, obviously it was him, but there's still, like, no evidence. Like, he wasn't near the area. He wasn't near the crime scene or anything like that. So something is weird, and you never really find out, like, the whole truth behind the story of her accusing him of the rape. It's kind of a lie. So, like, overall, thought it was a good story, thought it was an interesting story, kind of being told from the perspective of two people who, like, truthfully love each other, everything's going well, and then something happens, but you never really get a wrap up or an ending. It's just how love, can really see you through. That's basically what it boils down to. But yeah, like, overall, I gave it a 3. It's not necessarily a story that I enjoy. It's stuff that it's just so stereotypical, and while it is definitely a true experience of a lot of black people and people of color, especially in a large city like New York, it highlights a lot of the issues, the unemployment rates, the only putting liquor stores in areas that are heavily populated by black and brown people. There's a lot of things that it's making a commentary on, especially about America and how America just really doesn't love people of color. So there's that side of it. But I really felt like it was giving service to continuing to perpetuate this idea that most, if not all, black people are experiencing the same thing. In terms of, you know, growing up in the hood, and this is how we all, you know, kind of feel, and, you know, getting married and stuff like that. I wasn't really a big fan of that. And I know the book was written in the 70s, so things were obviously drastically different in the 70s, and it was right about the time of the ending of the Vietnam War, so I'm like, there's a lot of that kind of overshadow, like, historically speaking, in my head, I'm like, there's a lot of that overshadowing. And so the fact that, you know, Fonny hadn't been drafted, to me, was kind of wild. And several other people that hadn't been drafted. Like, I was kind of shocked that that wasn't more spoken about, but kind of more in favor of the just, like, general story, like the war almost didn't even exist. So there's that side of it. Yeah, overall I give it a 3. It's not a book I enjoy. It's not a story that I enjoy. I'm definitely more of the fantasy and stuff, and that's not to say that I don't disagree with a lot of the themes and things in the story, because I definitely do. They definitely are major, you know, false witnessing, outcry, all this stuff, and police brutality, targeting people, but I don't know, like, I think the other thing is, since the story doesn't really have a wrap up, it doesn't have a good ending, it just kind of left me like meh with it, because like it in the story it talks about Fonny's family, and how, like, he really just doesn't get along with his family. His mom is very holier than thou. His sisters are very holier than thou. They're always like, oh, we're praying for him because he's going to come back to the light and everything, but he's a terrible person. And they just say stuff like that all the time. And so he just doesn't hang out with them. He spends a lot more time with Trisha's family, who, you know, really kind of loves and cares for him, her mom and her dad and stuff. So like that element of it I thought was kind of interesting, but then like the end of the story kind of more or less focuses on the results of his family not getting him out of jail on time, you know, making sure that they have enough money for bail, and the story talks about, you know, everything that his dad is doing to try and get him out of jail, everything that Trisha's dad is doing to try and get him out of jail, because they just don't have that money lying around. And so it just doesn't end good. You know, just kind of up in the air, like, is he out of jail? Is he not out of jail? What happened to the baby? Like, you just have all these, like, unanswered questions, which I'm sure was the intent, but it just, meh. I don't like when stories have cliffhangers and there's really no, like, after book or anything like that. So yeah, so that's why I give it a 3, for one. And the other side of it, it falls right in line with a lot of stuff that was being written in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, from Black culture. And so I just, and this of course is me looking at it from a modern perspective, and I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, because I do think that stories like this do serve to tell the test of our history and, like, everything that we have gone through as a group of people, as ethnic, you know, but I want something not to be focused so negatively on the negative. I just want something different. And I feel like everything that's happening in, or being written in between the 60s and the 90s, truthfully, is just focusing on this downtrodden of Black culture. It doesn't highlight the vibrancy. It doesn't highlight the arts. It does in this book a little bit. Talks about how Fonny was an artist and a sculptor, and he's making these beautiful sculptures out of wood, and I think they talked about clay a little bit, but mostly wood, which is beautiful. And I love stories that kind of highlight the beauty of that. You know, like, I want the vibrancy, like the hanging out with each other as friends and family, and just spending time on a Saturday night. And not that everything is perfect necessarily, but there is some positive. And I feel like the story just doesn't focus on the positive. It focuses on the negative a little too much for me. And so in in building up my repertoire and reading, some of those things, like I just really want that, and it's not happening. So yeah, another reason why I give it a 3. So there you have it. If Beale Street Could Talk. Again, 3 out of 5. Not really my favorite, but I do like James Baldwin's writing style, and stuff. So I'd be interested to read some of his other works eventually. So yeah, there you have it. Thank you as always for watching. Please continue to like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you have, books to add to the list, I know a lot of you guys finally got the hint to start adding books again. So we've got that. Also, any books that you think my book club would enjoy. As you guys know, I am in a book club with some other ladies, and we are growing. We are very excited. We even named ourselves, which is kind of cool. So we're looking for books for that as well. So feel free to suggest those. I will look forward to seeing you in the next book review. Bye.